GM, we are live and we're waiting for 6 in a sprint. Best ball summer is rapidly coming to a close. I maxed BBM yesterday. I have 2 more DK Millies to go today. Fired off one this morning. Who Hames, up fam? Hey, GM to you, Who Hames. It's been such a fun summer hanging with you. If y'all don't sub to Who Hames, you should go and make sure you get that done because Who Hames is awesome and a good friend and true of the channel. Greg VS, another loyal member. Hey, thanks, or viewer. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. What up, Who? What up, Candlecast? Who Hames is waiting to see what Chad Candles wants to run. Who Hames, this is a sprint. This is a sprint. I should put this in sprint here. Because I know there's a lag on the chat. All right. Greg says, Who Ames caught you in a couple puppies yesterday. Chill, trying to get my season longs in. Who Ames asking if he's Mooncat, which I can answer for Greg. Greg is Mooncat. Who Ames starting to know so many users, they blend together. At least the ones whose YouTube names don't match. I was like 90% sure. Yeah, it's always hard to keep track of the ones that don't line up, but. Yeah, I tried to keep it simple here on old Underdog for everybody. But yeah, there's definitely a few, like BBG is Polak, which I always get confused. And there's a few different people with like Polak variants as their name, but I think he is just plain old Polak. And of course, our friend Mr. Worth, who comes on in here, he's like J-Dubs with some numbers. And so it's, we've got a few characters we got to keep track of, but this is a sprint. If anyone wants to hop in, we're waiting for 3. Let's do a little night driving. Do a little night driving to get the people going. Greg's got to keep them guessing. Yeah. Well, fortunately you don't have like a dolphin fan themed theme name. I've told the story before, but you occasionally can glean a little bit of actionable information from usernames. And one time I had Tua and Waddle, and I was at the 11 hole. I think this was last year, or must have been the 2 hole, thinking if it was last year. And I tried to push Tua around the corner, having those 2, thinking, oh, this guy already has a quarterback, doesn't need him. And his name was Tua Stan. And he predictably took Tua, and I just felt like you should have seen that coming. You should have seen that coming. So I'll never forget Tua Stan. But yeah, I guess sometimes, if you see someone with this happened once before with a guy who, this didn't impact me, but I was watching and he had like a Bears theme name on the turn, and he just like snapped off 2 bears like that. All right, I guess sometimes people do telegraph what they're going to do here. We're waiting for 4. These have been taking longer to fill than I thought. I really thought the overlay chasers were going to pile in and get these done. But now we're waiting for 3. I could try to run a BR while we're waiting. I just don't know. I don't want to fire up a BR if we're going to. It's just, let's just fire up a BR. Those are pretty quick, and the very beginning of the drafts, there's not like a ton of decisions to be made. So let me see if this fills. Let me try to hop into a quick BR. Hopefully this isn't waiting for 5. All right, waiting for 1. So I will, I'll have this run, and then hopefully, and now we're only waiting for 2 in the sprint. I don't know. I'm a little torn. All right, the sprint is 11. Let me see if I can get out of this one in time. All right, I'm out of the BR. That would have been unfortunate. We're in the sprint. We are locked and loaded. Pull up the draft board. We are all the way over here in the 12 hold. J-Dubs. J-Dubs made it in. We were just talking about J-Dubs. Who Hames at the 10? Excuse me. Who Hames in at the 10, and we're rocking and rolling. All right. Who Hames says overlay chasers will be out like crazy tomorrow. Yeah, I believe that. And a lot of them are at work. That's a fair point, Who Hames. That's a fair point. I guess I overestimated how many drafter and drivers there might be, but that's a pretty bad idea. You don't do either one well, so I highly do not recommend drafting and driving, and it's against the law in most jurisdictions as well. Joel says, I'm in. Let's chase some overlay. Let's do it. And X-Ball, I don't see you in here. I apologize. I think I see that Who Hames tried to get you in, but Aunt X-Ball, thanks for coming in and joining us. This is indeed a sprint. Hartman says the one dude Ah, I'm surprised they let him change it. DraftKings is pretty strict. DraftKings will not let you change usernames. But I guess Underdog is still young enough to where they allow that. I don't know if it's just they're trying to make sure people don't like try to hide from trackers or what, or they just I don't know. They just have a pretty strict policy over on DK that they don't let you do it. William says, I still think Sprint gets to 80%, only 20K entrants needed. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought that until today. I mean, we're only at 61. Like, this thing's had all summer to fill. Getting 20,000 people is a lot. I don't think people like the Sprint. I don't think people, for whatever reason, they think it's different. They're used to BBM, even though you honestly really draft them pretty similarly. Like, at the end of the day, in BBM, the playoff weeks are all that matters, and Sprint, it's the same thing. Like, in both things, you got to get there. Like, I don't really see a marked difference other than like not crazy game stacking, or game stacking week 15 is the same as 17. Like, all the weeks count the same in the playoffs. So I'll take Amon Ra. Oops, I'm not up yet. I can't promise that. We may not get Amon Ra. Let's see. I would go Amon Ra, Drake London here if I can. If not, we'll figure out what we'll do. I'm sure I'll get Drake London as one of them. Question is, do I want like Genty or Henry here? Oh, he takes. All right, so he takes Genty there. We'll go Amon Ra, London. We'll go with a couple of elite wide receivers and see if we can't land the plane in the wide receiver department. Let's see what our friends did. First, J-Dubs had the one hole. He took Jamar Chase, and Who Hames took Puka Nakua. All right, like those picks. All right. Hartman saying, first of all, GM Hartman, thanks so much for coming in and hanging out. Never underestimate us drafters and drivers chat. It's a strong community with questionable safety practices. Yeah, it's famously has gotten some people into trouble in the past, but I don't want to tell people how to live their life, but it is probably not worth like maxing the Chihuahua 3 to risk taking your eyes off the road. Who Hames? Oh yeah, said 20K to max. Greg doesn't like the Sprint for $20. That was the other thing. They made it cheaper, right? 50 was too expensive, but 20 is still kind of a lot. Like, I wish it was just 10, and then I feel like people would be more inclined to just be like, I'll fire it in. But yeah, 20 is pricey. 20 adds up quick. Hartman says, do you think the marathon will overlay more than the Sprint because it's more total entrance? Hartman, I haven't even looked at the marathon, so I have no idea. My inclination was that most people who want to do the marathon are just going to chase overlay over on drafters because there's more overlay. And I think it's perceived as a slightly less sharp area. And it's sort of like what Drafters is known for. Like, if I want to draft season long, I'll just go there, and Underdog for the other formats. So I don't play Drafters. I just haven't had the time to sink into full season, like non-BBM style, which is the real reason. I mean, I could just get ranks and draft off that, but I'd rather kind of like feel like I have a better grasp of the game. I mean, I guess maybe how hard could it be? Just score the most points, but it's not a format I've tried. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be surprised if the marathon got anywhere near filling. I just don't think people like it who are here. Joel says, love the Sprint format, hate the price point. Yeah, it's too expensive. Don't love the marathon price either. Yeah, is it also 20? I can't remember. Yeah, Hartman, I think it should be 10. I think if they made it twice as big and made it 10, people would have an easier time filling. Like, part of the reason it didn't fill is I can't tell you how many times I entered a Sprint lobby in June or July and just sat there for 30 minutes and had 2 more people come in and then just gave up. Like, they did not fire enough when we needed it, when there was a lull. Like, because people don't want to burn all their BBM bullets. Maybe you're between puppies. I think if the price point had been lower, you would have had more people be like, yeah, let me just throw in a few entries. It would have filled quicker, kind of like snowballed a little bit. That's just my thought. I feel like that was unfortunate. Yeah, Greg would get involved for 10. I do there's not enough support at 20. Yeah, again, they learned the right lesson coming down from 50, but it honestly was probably better at 50 because then it just like catered to that niche of drafter up there. I should probably get a running back at this point. That seems important. So let's get Travion. And what do we want to do? Ted McMillan's fun. I do a lot of Garrett Wilson teams, but again, that was not in the sprint. We'll take Travion. And this is such a fun range of receiver. I love being able to take 2 receivers in this range, but I didn't want to totally punt off. We'll take a share of Ted McMillan here. So for the audio listeners, we've got Travion Henderson, Amon Ra, Drake London, and Tet McMillan. Kind of a fun start to the team so far over here on the turn. Haven't had to do anything too wonky. Huhames with the same structure. He's got Puka, Henry, MHJ, and George Pickens. And J-Dubs over here on the one hole. He's got Jamar Chase, Ladd McConkey, and Mike Evans. All right. Pull the board back up so people can see what's going on. My chat is like not automatically scrolling. Huhames says, if it was 10, I would be on sprint 2 by now. Yeah, at the very least, I think they would have had a lot easier time getting close than here. Tyler, GM to you, Emo Cowboy. Thanks so much for coming in and hanging out. Truly appreciate the support. Huhames, by the way, Jalen Royals and Likely both out for week 1 for the week 1 brain people. All right, you heard it here first from who? I heard Royals was trending to be out. Likely posted a like cryptic emoji, which made it seem like maybe he was coming back. It was a very wide receiver coded tweet from a tight end, but I guess he's kind of a hybrid. I think he's wide receiver curious, so it makes sense for him to be in the cryptic tweet streets. And XWall, yeah, I couldn't max both BBM and sprint, so BBM it was, yeah. Honestly though, from a bankroll wise, it's probably better to max the sprint. I mean, it's going to overlay. I think it has a better like payout in advance. Like from an EV perspective, I feel like the sprint is probably better, but I could never have maxed the sprint because I just couldn't have sat in lobbies long enough. Like it would have just driven me absolutely insane, like waiting for these rooms to fill. Hartman, they should have put out promos sooner. They waited too long and the promos were okay at best. Yeah. The promos were not worth like aping into sprints, especially when they had so much else open. Like it was like the peak of the side contest, like the puppies and the, I don't know, whatever other dogs were in the kennel. Like it was like, there was a lot going on. And then they're like, oh yeah, please do this. But like they said, please, but they didn't really like mean it. I don't know. Greg says, yeah, I don't know how this conversation works on their end with like 50 different BRs now. Yeah. The lobby is chock full of BRs. There are a lot of contests in there. Even when they ran promos, drafts, and fire. Yep. I mean, this is essentially a promo, right? Like this overlay is like a promo. It's a form of whatever you want to call it. You want to call it reduced rake. You want to call it, you can just use the generic overlay. Like it's essentially a promo, and people still aren't aping in. Greg says, seem like they really want that BR pick'em money. Well, yeah, they don't care about us anymore. They want pick'ems. Pick'ems are like where they're, I'm sure their investors are all like telling them like, you got to push big pick'em there. Tony Pollard is a guy that I'm into, whether it's the sprint. I mean, it's a little week 1 brainy, but let's do Pollard and Egbuka. That seems fun. I did not get as much Egbuka as I wanted in the BBM. I only got 4% because I didn't chase his price up as aggressively as I probably should have. Had he been sitting here on the turn, I probably would have gotten more of him. But I'm much more comfortable clicking him in this range. Although in a vacuum, I think I probably prefer Debo and possibly Golden. It's a guy that I don't want to have like stone zero of. Like I didn't have stone zero, I have 4%, but I wish I was closer to market there. All right. Best Ball on Call, GM Kendall Crew. Hey, Best Ball on Call. Thanks so much for coming in, hanging out this morning. Whoever says bankroll wise, not maxing BBM is always the answer. Yes. It is purely for the desire for clout and the possibility of life-changing money, which is like, 1 out of 600,000 or whatever it is. Like it is objectively one of the worst ways to use your bankroll. If you're being bankroll conscientious, which, we probably should be as best ball players. But you got, I say that and I absolutely max BBM and I would have a hard time not doing it, but I would not say, I would not say it is by any means essential there. Errol Ringenberg, first of all, thanks so much for coming in and hanging out. Errol, I hope next year they keep the sprint but remove the marathon. Yeah, I would be fine with that. I feel like they should just cede the marathon to drafters. If people want to do that, go over there. I'm sure they just didn't want to just say because drafters is a competitor, right? So you don't want to not offer a product, but I just don't think it's a product we've clearly for 2 years in a row, and I can't remember if it happened the year before. I feel like last year, I think it was new. I don't know. I haven't been in the best ball streets as long as many people here, but it did not fill last year, if I remember right, and it's not going to fill this year. So I feel like the market is kind of trying to tell them we don't really need this. Maxing BBM is just for the love of the game. Hartman, a hard agree. I mean, we will. It is tough. It is tough to turn a profit in a BBM when you're expected to make the final once every 8 years, and you pretty much have to make the final to do anything to break even. It's almost impossible to break even without a final. And if you do, you got a bunch of seconds in the semis, which is horrible. At that point, I'd rather just not. And XWall, well, if you're good at the game, maxing BBM is always plus EV. And XWall, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. I feel like you can be a very good BBM player and not have it be plus EV. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe, yeah, EV in the term of expected value. You should get your money because you're getting it in good. Sorry, I'm drafting a Jalen Warren here, and let's do Warren, and we'll do Baker. Let's make a Baker team. We got Igbuka on this crew. Yeah, I mean, there's just going to be years where even players who are really good at this lose money. It's really tough. Joel says BBM is a $25 scratch ticket. Yes, and it also takes 40 minutes of your time. It's a lot of scratching. Ball knowers lottery. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. It's pretty brutal. But we love it, and that's why it has to be fun. It has to be fun because there's no guarantee that no matter how good you get at it, you're gonna turn a profit. You can. All right, let's see. Hartman says, I did the math and I would have been profitable by 1,000 instead of losing 600 to 700 last year for everything if I just didn't enter a single BBM. Yeah. And Hartman is sharp. Hartman knows what he's doing. It's just the problem is you can live several human lifetimes before you realize your edge. Even if you're a good player, that's the issue, is that there's just aren't enough slates. There's one slate a year, and your EV is even if you're plus EV, you're gonna be minus EV a lot until you hit that. And I don't know if we're still going to be doing this when we're 80 or if this is even going to exist. Probably not. Maybe I'll be streaming Wake Up Best Ball from the nursing home. I don't know. I'd love to, but things might look different then. It's just tough. Joel says, my wife loves the scratch tickets. That's my justification for entering. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't love the occasional degenerate scratcher? I'm into that. I am into that. Huham says, I would have lost if I didn't still. Yeah, it's tough. It is tough, Hartman. Best Ball Call just needed one more QB, Hartman. Yeah, it is so crazy how close the line is. El Groove, again, I'm pretty sure he cashed he advanced week 15 by less than a point. If he doesn't, then he probably, I don't know what his other things were. I don't know if he had other finals teams, but he literally goes from winning BBM to having an unprofitable year based on less than a point in 1 week of this whole thing. Like, the margins are just insane. Corain got second in his pod the year he won BBM. Like, it's, you know, maybe he has one better team in that pod doesn't get out, and Corain doesn't, like, so many things have to happen. And I'm not saying this to disparage either of those guys. I'm just saying it in the sense that, like, the margins are razor thin between winning these contests and, like, literally losing money. Like, it is absolutely insane. All right, let's see. We took Baker. Running backs are thin, except, I mean, I'll just take Cam Scatabo because I do need to have some fun doing this. Maybe we'll do Scatabo Golden. We do have this as a Baker team. We don't need Golden right away with our receiver firepower. I could, of course, take Goff to stack with Amon-Ra, but let's push our later quarterbacks a little bit more. For the audio listeners who may be tired of hearing about expected value, we've got a 1-4-5-0. Baker Mayfield, Travion Henderson, Tony Pollard, Jalen Warren, and Cam Scatabo. Wide receiver room of Amon-Ra, Drake London, Ted McMillan, Emeka Egbuka, and Chris Godwin. Of course, I left up Greg's message there by accident, but he is right. Just draft the right guys. Geez, we can talk till we're blue in the face about structure and draft buckets and draft capital and EV, but none of that matters if you don't draft the right players. So just click the right guys. Easy game. Hartman says it was that close, best ball on call. Broken heart for Hartman. Hartman, I apologize. I do not know the lore, but I'm piecing together that was it that you didn't have a healthy quarterback? Like, you only had a 2 QB team, and so I can't remember. I'm trying to remember everyone's the near misses, and I'm piecing together that that's what happened for you. For me, it was more annoying on DraftKings. I had 12 semifinal teams in the DK Millie. No, I had 10 semifinal teams in the DK Millie and 2 other semifinals teams, and none of them advanced to the final of the DK Millie. They all died in week 16. It was absolutely brutal. Uh-oh. Oh no. All right, Hartman. Sorry. Yeah, I missed your stream last night. I streamed my 150 last night and picked Love as QB3, was yapping about it on stream and auto drafted QB4 Herbert. Oh no. Well, maybe a 4 QB team got second in the puppy last year, didn't it? If I remember right. So maybe you know, I'm assuming unstacked Herbert is as a 4th quarterback. Maybe that's what you need. All right, let's check in on our friends. J-Dubs started with Chase, Ladd, and Evans. He then got Ken Walker, Chuba Hubbard, Jordan Addison, Sam Laporta, J.K. Dobbins, double tapped. Oh, no, he didn't double tap. Then he got Nix and then took Herbert and Tootin. Makes sense. Who-Hames went Puka, Henry, MHJ, George Pickens, James Conner, Ricky Pearsall, Caleb Johnson, TJ Hawkinson, and then Brock Purdy and Drake May. I consider Drake May in my spot to pair with Travion and then maybe take a late Douglas, but I decided to go with the Scatabo Godwin connection and leave Drake May for the others. Although you don't have Diggs, so you just like Drake May. So maybe your plan is the late Pop Douglas or perhaps even Efton Chisholm. Who knows? All right, let's see. Best ball and call witnesses on replay at 4 a.m. Oh man, Hartman, it won the fast puppy. Shout out Ray Zandy. Yeah, there it is. Our king of Rhode Island, Ray Zandy. I mean, again, you pick the right plays, and then all this talk about, you know, things you have to do and structures and all that just goes sailing out the window. We do have Drake May, so let's do a Penix Pitts double here at the turn. We will double up. We'll double up Penix here. We'll get our first tight end in the room. So now we've got Baker and Penix holding down the team here. Darnell Mooney, of course, starting to creep back up draft boards. He was going he was going in the 120s, 130s, and now he's back into the 90s and hundreds, which is good. Greg says, would you agree that there's skill in this game if you forget about week 15, 16, 17? Obviously, we don't want to get bounced out of round 1, but making it out of the pod is the win. No, well, I agree there is skill in that, but we play this game knowing we have 2 objectives, and we then have to thread we need a team that can do both. We need a team that can survive through 14 weeks, and then we need a team that can dominate in the last. That's the mission. And you need a team that, if it's only good at one and not the other, it's not a good team. So I think the skill is in trying to thread the needle between 2 objectives, which are very different at the same time, and making a roster that is flexible enough to accomplish both. And I think for me, and I say this with no disparagement, if you think the main skill is getting out of the pod and that's what you're good at, you should play drafters in the marathon. You shouldn't play BBM. You should play the contests that reward that. And I think there's this tendency to say oh, this team won the regular season. It's yes, but was that team then constructed to do well in the final 3 weeks? And so that's kind of how I view it. I think there's a tendency to say well, let me just advance as many teams as possible and let the chips fall as they may, which is one tactic. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I think we've seen a lot of teams with players with super high advance rates. I can't remember who it was. I might be Gritty. I know Gritty had a huge advance rate, but then it was either Gritty or somebody else. They had a bonkers advance rate, over 50%, but then 0 teams even in the semis. And so you can do things to juice up your advance rates to the detriment of how they perform in the playoffs. And I don't think that's a sound way to do it. Did Bryce Young go already? Bryce Young went. It's a little unfortunate. What do we want to do? I do want Brenton Strange. I like Brenton Strange. Or no. Take Thornton. Oh my God. Slow fingers. All right, we'll do Thornton Gino. We'll just get another turn stack here on the team. We'll do Thornton Gino. That's of course a bring back to Scatabo there. All right. Joel says, for sure, as tough as it is, there's still a ton of fish who are donating. Wouldn't be a $2 million pool if there weren't. Greg will die on the advancement hill, bro. Yeah, I mean, look, if you think the best technique to win the contest is to get as many teams into the playoff rounds, then that's a strategic choice. It's just not. I don't agree that it's the correct choice. I think we've just seen enough players advance a ton of teams in, and then they just run into a meat grinder, and they're not constructed to take advantage of the playoff format. Artillery Frost, GM, I can smell the football. FFB Wizard was the guy that put none in the semis. That's right. Okay. Again, I could not remember the lore. Artillery Frost. Gritty only advanced 25 in the end, despite having 50 plus Henry because he drafted. Oh no. Okay. All right. Yeah. I could not remember. Goes AZ Cards. Thanks for coming in, hanging out. That was 5 points from an extra 5K or 7 points from 15. Couldn't get it with 6 minutes left. And Sun God Pearsall Kittle playing head Goff was 9 behind Baker. Yeah, many such cases. There is nothing more frustrating than being the chaser and being oh my gosh, it's the fourth quarter, and then it's just nothing breaks your way. Yeah, you're oh, if X happens, we're gonna get overtime, and then I'm gonna win all the money, and then there's a turnover, and you're no, all right, it's over. That's what on call seems not the best process. Yes, draft well. All fair points in Miami, Tampa Bay, Week 17. We trust the K. Otten, Malik Washington Bowl. Yeah, I mean, that is definitely a game to target. And I'll say this: I think, and this is a point from Liam made and it's really stuck with me. He says, there's multiple ways to attack week 17. It's not just about a team and a bring back. Like your week 17 bet could just be a team stack. Like I consider team stacking making a bet in week 17, like making a bet in the playoffs, like just the act of stacking a team, because the bringbacks can lead you a little astray. If you pick the wrong bringbacks, you can correlate two players that aren't correlated until the very, very end. And then even then you might not get it right. So for me, the way I want to attack week 17 stuff is with big team bets or with good, quarterbacks stacked with pass catchers, that kind of thing. So I feel like team bets really are the actual way to stack week 17. And if you get a good bring back, that's fine. I'm not saying not to bring back, but I'm saying like we get a little hung up on the only way to play for week 17 in the playoff weeks is to like game stack, when I think team stacking is like pretty powerful tool for us. All right, Jonnu, really like Jonnu, really like Keaton Mitchell. GJ Giddens is nice too, but let's get Jonnu Smith onto the team. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing any really obvious. Jonnu's a little unfortunate with Pitts having the same bye week, to be honest with you guys. You know what? Forget Keaton Mitchell. Let's take Cade Otton. We do have Baker. We will make a Baker triple there. I do like Mitchell again, but I will do that. For the audio listeners, we've got a 3-4-6-3 with Baker, Penix, and Geno Smith, Travion Henderson, Tony Pollard, Jalen Warren, and Cam Scatabo, Amon-Ra, Drake London, Tet McMillan, Emeka Egbuka, Chris Godwin, and Dante Thornton, and a tight end room of Kyle Pitts, Jonnu Smith, and Cade Otton. Don't mind this team so far. Feel like it's coming together pretty well. FK Coolers, what's your BR schedule usually like, Chad? Do you do a bunch early or just wait to the end and pile them in? I do them throughout the week. I'll do them throughout the week. And I think there's advantages and disadvantages to both. And I don't think I have one particular time I like more. I mean, the good part about BRs is that if you get a player that's questionable and then ends up marked out, you get a free sub. You don't have to worry about like drafting a dead roster spot. Now, I mean, yeah, if they play and are limited or they're on a snap count, then you don't get any kind of substitution. But if they're just like straight up game day inactive, you're in good shape. But I do try to vary it because ADP does move. I mean, when ETR releases their ranks, the ADP shifts radically. We were talking about this over in the Matic Discord, or Matic was on his stream talking about James Conner. I think is just underpriced, and ETR is going to steam him up. Like once the ETR has him ranked where they're going to rank him, he's going to move from being like the scroll down running back to being like a round 4 running back. And it's not a death sentence to get that guy in the 4th, because you're still going to be able to make really good combinations. Like people get a little hung up on player movement. But there are times when there are combinations you can't get later in the week that you can get early. So I do try to flip them in. Huam says, I'd rather be the guy who flops, have the guy who flops than watch the guy who soars beat you. I'd rather have the guy who flops. Huams, I don't fully understand what you're saying. I don't I don't want either to happen. I don't want to flop, and I don't want people my opponent has to do well. So I don't fully understand. Oh, I know what you're saying. Huams. I got it. We're talking back in the sweat, and I would rather fall short than have a guy rocket past me. I got there, Huams. Yes, I think I'd agree. With that. All right, let's get Dameon Pierce. Do we really want Dameon Pierce? That's not that fun. Let's take Brashard Smith. That's way more fun for a sprint. And then who else? I want another running back, or do I? Nah, let's do it. Let's do Sean Tucker. Let's do Sean Tucker in the sprint. So this team, we're gonna be thin at running back or wide receiver, but we're gonna make it work. We got a 3-6-6-3. We have Baker Mayfield, Michael Penix, Geno Smith, Travion Henderson, Tony Pollard, Jalen Warren, Cam Scatterbo, Brashard Smith, Sean Tucker, Amon-Ra, Drake London, Tet McMillan, Emeka Egbuka, Chris Godwin, and Dante Thornton. And then Kyle Pitts, Jonnu Smith, and Cade Otton. Don't mind the team. We got a huge bet on Tampa Bay, which seems kind of fun. Let's check in on our friends' teams before we move on. Who Ames got Puka, Derrick Henry, Marvin Harrison Jr., George Pickens, James Conner, Ricky Pearsall, Caleb Johnson, TJ Hawkinson, Brock Purdy, Drake May, JJ McCarthy. So he went triple quarterbacks in rounds 9 through 11. Ayuk, Douglas, Henry. So he was able to backstack Drake May, Tajay Spears, Pat Bryant, Kendre Miller, and Alec Pierce. I like the team there, Who Hames. I like the team. You ended with 2 tight ends with Hawkinson and Henry, which is like for me pretty close to the line of where I would take a third. But I think that's I think you're toeing the line there. And if you're making that Hawkinson bet with McCarthy, then I think I like it. J-Dubs over there in the one hole. You got Jamar Chase, Ladd McConkey, Mike Evans. And then Ken Walker, Chuba Hubbard, Jordan Addison, Sam Laporta, J.K. Dobbins, Bo Nix, Justin Herbert, Byshell Tootin, Jaden Blue, Bryce Young, Torrey Horton, Troy Franklin, Jatavion Sanders, Malik Washington, and the much maligned Marshawn Lloyd. If Marshawn Lloyd is past this injury and healthy, then I think he's a great pick because nobody's drafting him because everyone's sick of Marshawn Lloyd. But I'm sick of him too. I'm having a really hard time drafting him. Let me see what the sprint streets are looking like. Let's try to hop in another sprint and see what the fill is. Waiting for 2. All right. Well, I'll run another sprint. I'll run another sprint for the people here. Tiger Uppercut, team stacking is good for regular season 2. Yep. I think team stacking is, I mean, it's obviously it's like best ball 101, but you got to do it. Same for me. I tried to get a decent bit in before ETR drops rankings, moves to ADP. Yep. Artillery Frost, A-Chain less egregiously underpriced, but also underpriced. Yep. He was, he's been a riser in week 17. Yeah. Sorry, Who Hames. I figured out what you were saying. Hulk Smashed Potatoes, GM2, thanks so much for coming in, hanging out. Appreciate it. Goes Cards. I just want to make week 17. Fantasy gods will decide from me. Yep. That's all. I mean, that's all I want next year. I just want the sweat. I just want the sweat. Who Hames, sprint winner, only got 33 points last year at tight end. Oh my God. Yeah, that's impressive. That is really impressive. They must have just had an absolute wagon. Redraft League, half point PPR, start 1 at flex, Egbuka or Judy. Help me out, chat. Help out our friend Greg. I would go Judy, but I'm not opposed to Egbuka if you want to go that route. I think the Bengals defense is terrible, and they're probably going to have a positive game script for the Browns. Flacco's been able to support a wide receiver 1 previously. I think that the target competition is a little bit greater, or at least the touch competition. I don't know. I'm a little leery about. I think I would start Judy there. Chris Burkle, GM2, thanks so much for coming in and hanging out. Good morning, Candles. Hey, good morning to you, Chris. Thanks for spending the morning here and coming by. Who Ames versus Bengals all day. Joel says, I love Cleveland guys this week for Cincinnati. So far the chat is in lockstep there. Also, I haven't asked. It's been 40 minutes. If you could like and subscribe, it would do me a lot of good. I should have asked you all to like the stream before I would do another draft, but you guys know I'll just do it anyway. But if you could please throw us a like. It means a lot. And thanks again. Of course, a sub would be great. The goal was 200 subs by kickoff. We're really gonna need to speed it up here. I don't know if I'm gonna get 10 subs per day for 2 days. That would be That would be about 9 more subs a day than is typical. But if we could get close, that would be amazing. I took CMC at the 1.6 there. Huhames is in this room at the 3. He took Bijan. So we're here at the middle of the board, which is nice. Our last draft we were at the turn, so we'll have a little bit more decision making as far as pushing players or not. Have a sip of coffee here. Yes, it is a iced coffee. I don't have the coffee pour nice mug situation here. I don't have the ASMR pour. I could do like an ice rattle. I don't know if that's quite as soothing as Pete's patented coffee pour. I also don't know. Is anyone going live at 10? I don't know if anyone's coming on today or not. I know people's schedules are a little bit different now that the season is getting rolling. I am between Bucky Brown and Jonathan Taylor. I'm going to let you guys know. That's kind of why I am paused here. I love all these guys. Chase Brown, Bucky, Taylor, Jacobs. I think they're all really strong, but we'll err towards Chase Brown in this particular sprint. Maybe that was a mistake because it's possible you could have gotten Chase Brown in early sprints at 30, but I'm not really going to worry about that too much. We will see. I was a little bit of 2 or 3 minds on that pick, but we'll see what we can do with old Chase Brown there. Ghost Card says, am I crazy for loving Geno this year? My highest drafted QB? I don't think so. I mean, he has all the weapons in the world. There is no excuse. There's no excuse. Playing in a dome now, it's not a lot of dome games. I think it's like less than 10 or 12 in his career, but his dome splits are kind of crazy. He is a lot better in a dome, at least has been. Who knows? I mean, maybe that's because they played the Lions and their defense sucks a few times. I don't know what it is, but Geno in a dome has been very good. And obviously we are drafting a lot of Raiders very highly. And so I don't mind the Geno pick at all. I think that's fine. Yeah, the ASMR ice rattle. That was actually the big announcement, is that when Best Ball concludes, we're just going to do ASMR streams. Forget BR. We're just going to crinkle various papers and shake ice. We'll see. Maybe we can get to 200 subs that way. Huhames, he adds Ladd McConkey to his team. Omari and Hampton goes. All right, let's just take Tyreek Hill. Let's not be cowardly. Let's not be cowardly here. Hopefully he's still a member of the Dolphins, because that probably means things are going well in Miami. Don't mind that. Huhames thanking the room for his start with Bijan, Taylor, and Ladd. Yeah, that's sick. I don't understand Ladd at 27. That is kind of nutty there. That's a very strong start there. If you want to trade teams, let me know. Maybe we can figure something out here. Because yes, I think I would probably prefer Bijan, JT, and Ladd to CMC, Brown, and Tyreek. But I mean, it's not a bad start we got cooking here in the 6th hole. So let's stay tuned. Let's see if we can't get the plane moving. I gotta take Xavier Worthy. The upside in Worthy feels to me just really colossal this season. So let's get him into the crew. I do love Garrett Wilson. I probably would have taken Wilson there, but I'm also a Garrett Wilson slappy. Oh my God. Star Fox takes Jalen Hurts to go with Josh Allen. So maybe he had regret after taking AJ Brown, and then Hurts comes back to him. But something to note in this room, we may need to prioritize quarterback a touch earlier than we had planned, but we will see. We have our 2 quarterbacks are Tua and Mahomes as potential stacking partners, or we could be the annoying Joe Burrow, Chase Brown guy, because that guy is really fun at parties. All right, let's see. Huhames is on the clock. Who does he add to his all-star team? Who Hames says he will take Calvin Ridley. I love the Calvin Ridley pick. I'm really high on Ridley and Ward. I have a ton of them, so I definitely like that selection. You know what? Let's do something a little kooky. Let's make a Waddle Tyreek team. Let's make this a Tyreek Waddle team, and hope that the Dolphins are good. And if they're not, I'll say, I knew Tyreek was going to get traded, and so now I have the wide receiver 1, and I have Tyreek Hill on another team. So I have outs. I have outs to lie to people after this if this goes south. ATX Bearcat GM. I guess I have to draft sprints today. I think you do. I think you do. If you have maxed your BBM and you're not chasing overlay, are you really squeezing the last drops out of hot best ball summer? I do not know. Star Fox autoed last draft. Oh, you're probably going to run into that, huh? You're probably going to run into people who are trying to chase overlay and just have ranks and auto, which I feel like is really not great. I normally like Pollard, but let's take Pacheco. Let's take a couple pieces of the Chiefs here. I think that's pretty nice. We got Worthy and Pacheco. We got a couple of Dolphins, and so far we're rocking and rolling here. Don't mind this team. Star Fox, he gets the slight fall on Pollard. There, I'm sure Pollard probably would have made sense for who with Ridley, but I don't know if that's the direction Who Hames would have taken his team. He takes Steph Diggs there. And we continue. I feel like Jay Riddle. This is a familiar name, but I can't point to who that is here. All right. Another coffee sip. All right. Now Who Hames back on the clock. See who he takes as his 7th here in the 7th. Who Hames winds down the clock before taking. So he takes Swift. Star Fox, please don't take Mahomes and go triple quarterback, because that's who I want here. Hawkberg, be nice. Thank you. All right, we're just going to take Patty Mahomes. I don't think there's any reason to try to push that, especially this guy, Jax, by the way. I ignored that. Or missed that rather. He took Daniels and Burrow. So quarterback is going to be a little wonky in this room. And I don't know how many people are paying attention to that. We will see. But regardless, I'm very happy to end up with Mahomes on this team, because it is possible quarterback is going to end up really weird here. ATX Bearcat says, I tried to auto a couple marathons and sprints, did not go well. Yeah, I find auto drafting, you really have to have a lot of overlay to go after it. Every time I've tried to do it, it's been a complete failure. And that includes in golf, when I did ranks and autoed those contests and just lost my ass. And I had decent rankings. I ran weirdly cold in 101s and I had 8 Scotty Schefflers in 150 drafts. I literally had 8 101s out of 150. It was terrible. Best ball called take Swift, hate Swift. I've done it. Yeah. Who Hames? I am very out on Swift myself. I have a very hard time clicking him in virtually any format. All right, let's see. Travis Kelce is who I would have taken to continue my bet on the Chiefs. I think the pick will be Mark Andrews. I like Mark Andrews a lot. He gives me the chance to stop at 2 tight ends if that ends up being appropriate. But let's see. See these people, man. This guy already had a tight end, and he takes Kelce. What are you doing? What are you doing, Sean? You have Brock Bowers. My God. All right. Who Hames? He takes Darnell Mooney at pick 94. Pretty nice there. FK Coors, that's odd about PGA. I thought it would work there. I really think it was because I didn't got no Scheffler and you needed him. It was horrible. I have 3% Swift. Yeah. Mayo released his rankings and people the winner drafted off of his rankings. multiple people won a ton of money, and I used those ranks, and I lost everything. I'm laughing, but it was terrible. All right, let's see. Boy, this is getting a little dicey. Let's take Christian Kirk here. It's gotten really thin at wide receiver. We have 2 receivers on the same team. You know, I do need a 4th wide receiver through 9 rounds. I think I was getting a little bit behind there. We'll take that. Let's see. Huhames, he took Drake May over on his team. Now comes a little bit of a mini run at quarterback. This Jack's Joker has now taken Dak Prescott, so he's up to 3 quarterbacks over there. Swifty, I am a Swifty this year, but there have to be Swifties because he's going in the 60s. It's just not me. It's just not me. Somebody's taking him. Somebody is taking him. Yeah, I think I mean, it was the ADP luck because I literally just used the same rankings that people that had success did. Greg says, I'm also a Swiftie, but I hedged real hard with Manungai. I mean, that's probably a good process there. All right, let's see. Our king, Scatabo is here. Let's take a Tucker Craft share, and now we'll probably make this a 2 tight end team, and we'll figure it out later. We'll figure out the we'll figure out the quarterback and remaining running back situation later. So Njoku goes. Star Fox takes Scatabo. That is fine. I don't need Scatabo on every single one of my teams as much as I like him. Greg says, is Manungai just Jamal Williams? People are saying that. I am people. I just don't know what's going on there. If Roshan Johnson is actually like, he's anywhere from like the goal line back to like game day inactive to having more of a role than Swift. Like, I have no idea what's going to happen with him. It seems bad. Ghostguard says, I'm 14% Swift across all types. Yeah, there must be somebody. There must be somebody doing it. I mean, again, we brought this up with our Long John Silver discussion, how I said, I don't know if anyone actually goes there. I think your Swift is like the Long John Silver of this. I don't know anybody that's eating there, but they're still in business and they're advertising. I would have taken Love. This Hawkburn guy is a real nuisance, but all right, I'll take Stroud to pair with Christian Kirk here. But yeah, I mean, somebody's got to be drafting him to have Swift up there. When you said I'm laughing, but it's terrible, that made me laugh. Yeah, it's pretty tough scenes, but I'm glad to retell it here. Joel says, I don't need Scatabo on every one of my teams. Who are you and what have you done with Chad? Yeah, I mean, I did not want one player to make or break my entire season, and that's really due to just injury stuff. Like, it's not worth it. This is a game and a sport where players get hurt, and all the people who drafted Rashee Rice last year know that you can be super duper right. And if 2 weeks into the year you told someone I can up your exposure to Rashee Rice to 100%, they would be just like windmilling that in. I'm just taking Tua now. I'm a coward. I don't want to miss out on Tua. There's people taking like 9 quarterbacks, and if I miss out on him, I'll be much. And I don't get Ollie Gordon. That's fine. I'll figure something else out. For the audio listeners, we got a 3-3-4-2. We got Mahomes, Stroud, and Tua. We got CMC, Chase Brown, and Pacheco, Tyreek Hill, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Waddle, Christian Kirk, and then Andrews and Kraft. So basically, we just need to load up on running back and receiver before we get out of here. I'll pull the board back up to see what's going on. But again, if I'd missed out on Tua, I would have just I would have not been having fun anymore, and I just don't trust people. FK Course, the silence just means Ben Johnson decided the RB2 on the team, and there isn't much to be said. That could be it. That FK Coolers, that absolutely could be the correct read of the situation. I just don't know. I drafted Meta guy as well, but I don't think he profiles as anything special at all. Yeah, that's Yeah, Greg, that is one way to see it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone was excited about Manungai, but he's this Hawkberg guy is going to take Ollie Gordon from me. I am already upset about it. No, he didn't. All right, we got Ollie Gordon. Sweet. You're forgiven, Hawkbird. But why did you take? He took unstacked Jordan Love. Like, why? Anyway, it's all good. It's all good. Maybe Stroud will outscore him. All right, let's pull the board back up. I feel comfy with my 3 quarterbacks in my 3 stacks that we have. Not a bad little sprint. Let's check in over on Who Hames. After he added Mooney and Drake May, he took Rashad Bateman, Herbert, Goddard, and Penix. So let's see. He was the lad guy, so Herbert makes sense. He was the Mooney guy, so Penix makes sense. So I like what Who Hames has been able to assemble here. Interested to see if any of these 3 QB guys go 4, because that could really lock out some of these late QB drafters. Goes cards. I'm pouring on Judkins. I wanted to hit for my early drafts, but I'm way more on Samson. Yeah, yep. I know how that goes. I know how that goes when you have like bets that don't all play nicely together there. I'll take Will Shipley here. We'll take Will Shipley as a little contingent bet on this team. I need to start getting some more wide receivers though. It's we're really thin here. Who Aim says if they took Penix, I was taking Ollie. You also have Bijan. You also have Bijan, so that makes even more sense. FK Coors, I don't know. I was just wish casting a 7th round Rutgers RB is a nice summation of the Austin. Yeah, we need football to start immediately. Hawkberg panic clicks love to give you Ollie, and you immediately trash the pick. Crazy work. I'm glad you're picking up on that. Yeah, why are you talking about my Pacheco bags? Yeah, definitely some through lines with Manungai and Pacheco. All right. I'm interested in Thielen, but I think I'm more interested in. No, let's take Thielen. I need some early season production. I know this is the sprint, but I say I need early season production, and I have like the most early season production roster in the history of rosters. But you know what? We're just gonna take our guys. I do like Thielen though. Now that he's on Minnesota, I think at least for the first few weeks he's going to be productive, and he could end up turning into a security blanket for McCarthy. We will see. Obviously, it's going to get crowded when Addison comes back from suspension, but I don't mind him there. I really do like Torrey Horton, but I'm afraid that they're not going to run a lot of 3 wide receiver sets in Seattle, and he still is, he still is a rookie. He's gonna be pretty up and down. Going to be pretty up and down. Let's see what else we want to do. Chris Rodriguez, interesting. DJ Giddens, probably my favorite contingent bet of the year. Let's do DJ Giddens, and then we'll take 2 more wide receivers, and then fire something else up. All right. Also, almost an hour in. If you can like and sub, please like and sub. Hartman asks, how much cup do you have? All right, Hartman, we're gonna go fast. We're gonna go fast and try to find that answer for you. We have this also includes 9.5. Let me just do 12 person because this is Badge Bros Brawl is included here. 11% cup in everything. So I'm actually have a lot of cup. That's more cup than I thought I had. I would have guessed I was like right at market, but I have a little more than I thought. Darius Break the Slayton seems like a nice guy for this particular format. Perfectly cromulent selection there. Let's check in on what Who Hames has been doing. Who Hames has since added Taj Brooks and Damian Pierce, so a couple of contingent backs, although Damian Pierce could literally be the starter in Houston. So maybe he would have made more sense for me than Giddens. I've just had a tough time getting up to speed on Pierce, but he is a click I have started to add it. Best Ball on Call says, like and sub because Chad starts your day off right. Hey, thanks, Best Ball on Call. I appreciate it. I try my best. To get everything, do right for the people. But if you snipe my quarterback, I will say mean things about your pick as Hawkberg sulks into his coffee. I don't think Hawkberg's watching, but if you are, well, I'm watching you, Hawkberg. FK Coolers, I ended up with more Cup on DK and drafters for obvious reasons, but some more to chat. I thought it'd be pretty under on UD and wasn't. I think the reason he were not is because he was going in a place in the draft like there was nobody around him. So I see Jalen Knoll and I know it's a sprint, hardy har, but I actually think Yoshivas like weirdly has contingent upside. If something happens to one of Higgins or Jamar Chase, I actually think Andre Yoshivas could be really good. It seems like he had a good camp. It doesn't seem like Burton is actually a threat to him. So we'll take what looks like a boring pick, but I actually think it's kind of a much maligned pick that has a little upside. And Who Ames closes with Juwan Johnson. So don't mind this little crew here. Kind of an interesting team. But yeah, FK Coolers, it was sometimes when you end up high or low on a guy, it's because they're in a range with a lot of other of that position and you're clicking them out of the pile. With Cup, it was really like he was surrounded by random tight ends and like Kyler Murray and Bo Nix, who you're really only clicking on if you're trying to stack them. So I feel like he just kind of ended up sneaking his way into a lot of my teams. Who Aim says, Pierce is my double down at my 0.2% mix and bet. I have so much Joe Mixon Who Hames from early in the summer. I was like, this is, I'm eating my vegetables. And then it turned out like the vegetables were like super moldy. Not great. I wish I could turn those in. Greg says, I am shouting into the sky on this one, but if we draft Yoshi consistently, isn't Tolbert on the cows just as draftable? Maybe. My only fear about Tolbert is I think it turns into a rotation a little bit with Turpin. Like Turpin might work in a little more, but if your bet is that he becomes a full-time player, then I absolutely do like that because he was very productive when given a full-time role last season. So I don't hate that. I think we all, as soon as they signed Pickens, Tolbert went from like everyone's sneaky late round click to completely off the board. And I think the bet turned into like pure contingency. Yoshivas, though, I don't know. I think Yoshivas could be slightly productive even if like everyone's healthy, but it's obviously like a little bit thin. FK Coolers, oh yeah, that AGP, that range went to hell if you weren't taking a quarterback. All right, I have to ask you all, is anybody coming on at 10? Is Davis or Pete ship chasing, ADP chasing? Is any of that happening at 10? Because if it's not, I will do another sprint or try to, and if so, I will run some BRs. Or if you in the chat would rather, I can run some BRs if people want that. Let me see how close the dog bowl is to filling. 6. That could take a while. I'm hopping out of that. Wave says, don't worry about it. If you want to stream, just stay on. The longer stream helps you. Yeah, no, I know. It's just those two in particular have let me promote my stream in their channel. So I just would rather not. I just don't like to do that. It feels a little ungrateful to do that. So I try to avoid it. But no, Who Aims, I do appreciate it. Davis is 11 a.m. All right. Let's hop in another sprint. Here. Oh my gosh, it's snap fire. It's snap fired up. I apologize if people wanted to hop in, but we are already in. Again, Who, I know you've been running these, so I would have loved to have done another one here. We're back in at the 6th hole. Okay, cool. Davis at 11. Puppies. I could have done a puppy. Puppy would have been fun too. All right, ATX Bearcat, keep going. All right. Davis live at 11. All right, perfect. We will keep on rolling here. If you have not liked and subbed, please do so. We're in at the 6 hole. We're doing a sprint, and we're probably going to take another CMC share. Yeah, Hartman, this one's snap filled. And if I had counted you guys in, then you would have been in the underflow. So there was no hope. It wasn't even like waiting for one. I was literally guy number 12. Who even said the puppy snap filled too. Yep. Hulk smashed potatoes. It's the last day of drafting. Go out with a bang. All right, Hulk smashed potatoes. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Maybe let's try a little hyper fragile. Let's try to, we will plan, maybe we'll get a Who Hames-like start to this team, and we will get 3 elite running backs that we are happy with. Let's see if we can truly go hyper fragile on this team. I say this, but if somebody takes CMC, then I'm not doing that. Maybe if we do that, then we go like extreme 0 RB or something. We'll try something. Hulk smashed potatoes. We'll try doing something fun. Who Aim says my bank account going out with a bang. Yeah, it chasing overlay can be an expensive proposition. Hulk smashed potatoes agrees. HX Bearcat. It's this last day. They're not open to kickoff, but they're open to a certain time before. They have to make sure they are done before kickoff. And so I forget what I do like Jahmyr Gibbs, but I said I was making CMC my 101. And so I'm going to live my truth there. Yeah, ATX Bearcat, they will be open tomorrow, but it's probably till like 4 p.m. or something like that. Hartman says it's like an hour or 2 before. Who Ames thinks it's an hour. Okay. Yeah, I imagine it's whatever it would be if every team took their full clock, if I had to guess, which I'm not good enough at math to do without opening a calculator app right now. Hulk Smashed Potato says 6:11 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. That makes sense. All right. That's it. We're, so I guess we have slightly more than 24 hours to go, and we'll see what the fill rates end up being. Goes Cards says Dog Bowl drafts Friday morning. So I definitely will do some Dog Bowl drafts on the channel. The issue is they can be slow to fill. So it's hard, especially in the morning. So it's hard for me to like promise it with any degree of regularity or certainty, because they might just not fire. But I will, if we're running BRs, check in on fills and see what we can do. So last one we did CMC Chase Brown. We'll definitely pick somebody else. Maybe we'll do CMC JT or CMC Bucky. Let's do JT. So we got CMC JT as a start. And I would love to do Hyper Fragile. The issue is from the 6, Omarion Hampton's probably gone. And then your next best running back is Kyler Murray. And I don't really like Kyler Murray. So I will have to figure out what I want to do. Maybe we do anchor wide receiver, depending on what comes around. If Hampton comes, we'll take Hampton. If no Hampton, then we will we'll take the best wide receiver and try to go with a more anchor wide receiver approach. Hartman says, are Meg's marathon rankings good enough to just auto with? Let's find out. Hartman, good luck. May the structure and quarterback gods be with you. The only thing I autoed this year was the 100, or intentionally autoed, was the 101 Dalmatian, the mini one. And I in the first one, I have like 17 Shadur Sanders teams because I didn't have QB ranked high enough, and I didn't even have Shadur Sanders ranked. It just ended up going that way. So that was not great. That was not a fun discovery on that team. All right, so we got Hampton queued up. If Hampton's gone, Hampton goes. Who do we want? Who is our anchor receiver? Oh, we're going to go out with a bang. We're going to pretend it's last year, and we're going to take a 1-2 turn pick with Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is going to be our anchor. Now, will this anchor drag this team down to the bottom of the C? Probably. But you know what? That's why they call it anchor wide receiver, folks. That is why. but we're all going to learn this together. So we get Garrett Wilson on the team, and let's see what we can't come up with. Goes cards. I don't like Kyler Murray. The guy goes cards, goes AZ cards, unclicking the button. I don't like Kyler Murray. Oh, got it. I understand. We were talking about it. We were talking about the screen names. Yes, I would, if I saw your screen name in there, I would assume that you were liable to take Kyler unstacked ahead of ADP. All right. One more ASMR coffee shake. Darn good coffee. Joe Burrow goes at pick 37. Why not? Now I'm like, oh, I'm going to try some weird structure. And I'm like, people are just doing terrible things on this side of the world. I love that this guy with Jason Higgins absolutely thought they were getting Joe Burrow at the normal place, and he goes at pick 37 to the Derrick Henry drafter. That is kind of fun. All right, I don't think we're actually going hyper. I don't think we're doing anything fun whatsoever. Sorry, Hulk smashed potatoes. There's no running backs here. I'm not taking Breece Hall. I don't like Breece Hall. MHJ is like 1,000 picks past ADP. We're just gonna do that. I'm sorry. We're streaming tomorrow, so if we want to go out with a bang with a hyper fragile, maybe I'll try it from like the top 3 or 4. I couldn't pull it off from the 6. I'm sorry. Yeah, go AZ cards. How do we like this with a little MHJ there? I think this is kind of a fun start. Yeah, who aims hashtag get your guys. What? I'm making fun of Westfall, but Joe Burrow was not going to make it back to him at 60. So, if you got to jam Joe Burrow with Travion Henderson, BTJ, and Derrick Henry, then is pick 67 too early? I don't think so. If that's how you want to live your life, then who am I? Who am I to stand in their way? So, poor Star Fox, they had to settle for Ken Walker and Breece Hall as their consolation prizes. All right. We're here in the middle of the board. I wonder if we'll just sit here and just scoop up ADP value, or if we're going to have some tough choices to make. Like, I will take one of Metcalf or Sutton there. If those both go, then I think I will take Calvin Ridley. I guess I take Cortland Sutton. I like Ridley more than Sutton, but I don't want to make the same clicks every time. Let's just take Sutton here. Again, I will give me a little bit of optionality. I could consider Bo Nix. Right now at this pick, this 8-9 turn, we're going to have Fields, Nix, and Kyler all kind of in a clump. Probably take one of Kyler or Nix at 91 and then hope one of the others falls. The difficulty is neither of those two are likely to fall because you can take them unstacked. Of course, Fields has been dropping a little lately, so maybe he'll come back around, but this room seems like literally nothing would surprise me at all. So we'll see what happens. Whohames, you've been beating this drum that BBM is going to overlay. I have been beating the other drum, and thinking it's not. What is the fill rate? I'm pulling it up on my phone. What is the BBM fill rate? So 96.6. I think it's going to fill, Whohames. I think it's going to get. People are going to start piling in at the very, very end with kickoff approaching. Because we've had days that have been like 2% fill rate days, haven't we? Like over 1%. And so we only need, I don't know. It didn't even get 3% on Monday. I'm willing to give Monday a pass because it was a holiday. But I am surprised, Whohames. I am surprised. I thought it was going to fill this past weekend. Most people are done. Yeah, I'm just thinking there's enough normies are going to come in, but maybe the normies have already come, and this is what we've got. I don't know. I think, oh man, I really like Debo. I like Pacheco. think I'd take Debo here. All right, well, somebody takes Pacheco. So there we go. We get Debo Samuel here. So let's not forget the plan. We'll queue up Nix, Murray, and Fields here and really hope we get 2 out of the 3. Okay, actually I have one more pick before that happens. So let's not have a star method fiasco. But we will get 1 or hopefully 2 of those 3 quarterbacks here at picks 8 and 9 for us. Joel says the fact that we're even discussing the potential of BBM overlay the day before a season starts is nuts. Yeah, I'm surprised. Joel. I thought we were. If you asked me like in July, I would have said, oh, it's probably going to feel like a week before. But maybe that's just because we're so in the weeds that we have a kind of overinflated sense of like how big this is. I mean, it's still a pretty young game. Best ball is so. Yeah, and Greg says recession indicators. Yeah, unironically too, people cut back on discretionary spending, and this is truly discretionary spending. Chris says it went 1.8% yesterday in 24 hours. Oh, first of all, Chris, thanks so much for coming in. So we have I guess we have 31 hours left, something like that. So yeah, it would have to just about double that pace. We'd have to just about double that pace to get there. Okay, I was gonna say I don't have a reason to take Mahomes, right? I don't have a hidden. We'll take Jordan Mason. I've been taking a lot of Jalen Warren lately. I do really like Jalen Warren, especially after that just most recent comments. It sounds like he's kind of the guy, kind of the guy there, and I have a lot of Caleb shares. I'm starting to wish were Jalen Warren shares myself. All right, I'll pull the board back up so people can see what's going on. Again, as I have been yammering on about, the plan will be to take 2 quarterbacks here. We'll see what happens. Go AZ Cards. You know you're slappy when you can tell people how many BBMs were drafted in a day. Well, we care about this stuff. You know, this is we are doing this because we like this game and we want to see it succeed. At least I think a lot of people are. So we'll see. Steven WC23, thanks so much for coming in and hanging out. Might also be competition with DK and Drafters this summer. I see more of those sites being streamed. Yeah, DK played pretty smart. I mean, they definitely did well with their hashtag DK partner stuff. They definitely saw that this would be a good way to onboard people or get people using their product. So I was impressed that they did update. They did create like a new draft board in the app, and I think they're working on making improvements. So I think they do see us as a really hardcore community that they want on their site. So I do have to give them some kudos. DraftKings doesn't get a whole lot of kudos, but I do think they've handled this well. Let's get Bo Nix onto the team. Of course, would I rather stack MHJ or Wilson? Probably, but I do think Nix. I've been trying to get a little bit more Nix, and I think just in a vacuum, Nix is probably as a little bit, his AD in the ADP reflects it a little bit better of a click than Kyler or Fields. All right. Oh, all right, good. My wife is traveling and she just texted me that she landed. So hold on, I got to send a hooray. Okay. All right. Excellent. So we are up. Kyler still has not gone, but we got to get past 3 people with no quarterbacks. That is going to be a mission. If Kyler and Fields go, let's think what we want to do. JCM, that depth chart is throwing a lot of people into a tizzy. I think the click would just be Evan Ingram if he's also still there, because then we could double up Bo Nix. I think that makes a good deal of sense. Cam Scatabo goes at pick 99, where he should be going. Good for you, BFFL. I always like to see sharp drafters in a room with me. Caleb goes, Dak goes. Let's just lock up Fields. I think Fields and Wilson is more important than Evan Ingram. And frankly, I'm a little worried about Evan Ingram being a rotational tight end. I mean, he came in and he was supposed to be the Joker, and then I haven't heard anything positive about Evan Ingram at all. Like stone zero. And it's starting to scare me a little bit. I don't want to like FUD Evan Ingram, but I don't know what it is, but it seems something seems a little bit off. We are going to need a third quarterback, and we'll have to figure out who that is. We will have to figure out who that is as well. Chris is agreeing with Greg about the recession indicator. Chris, I think Scott Fishbowl is the biggest indicator contest. Donating is the first thing to go. And that is unfortunate. And I'll admit it. When they launched it, I was like, oh, I'll do a couple of these. And I have not done a Scott Fishbowl tournament. Maybe I'll try to get one of those in. But now I'm just like, if I have the time, I'm just like jamming in, sprints and stuff. Chris has been subscribed for a while. Hey, Chris, thanks for, I appreciate it. I do appreciate the support. Hartman, it feels like there were a lot more side contests that ate a ton of budget. IDK, if that's true, but it felt like more total contests this year. I don't know, Hartman. I almost feel like there were fewer side contests, maybe, but there is an answer. Like there's a yes or no. So maybe you're right. But I don't know what it is. I don't know. FK Coolers, I didn't play last year. Were there much more time box niche contests or about the same? Well, if you ask me, there are less. If you ask Hartman, there are more. And I'm sure somebody can get to the bottom of that. Right. Let's see. Tucker Kraft is a guy I lean on probably more than I should, but I really think he has the potential to be an elite tight end. So let's get Kraft. I know Loveland was here, but I'm clicking Kraft ahead of London. All right. Chris says, I work early, so your time slot is perfect for me. Hey, that's great. That is great, Chris. I'm glad to do it. I feel like there's a lot of people who, before work or like on the way to work or waking up, on the West Coast or driving to work, like I like to have content kind of in the background, and I'm more than happy to do that. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in, whatever the format, however you are watching or listening. I really appreciate you doing that and hanging out here today. It's a really fun group. We got a fun group that likes to hang out in the mornings. Williams, anyone want to draft with who? Drafters, minis. I'm piling in, missing some picks and autoing some. You heard it here. If you wish to scoop who's EV, you can hop on in. He is drafting and autoing. ATX Bearcat, I have to assume the people that max are done. Yep. Who aims? It's going to overlay also. Oh, the drafter stuff. Yes, lots of drafter stuff there. FK Coolers, because my guess Underdog jammed too many games in the lobbies and spread liquidity. Yeah. Or we all went broke playing pick'ems. Thank God I'm not in a pick'em state, because I am god awful at those. All right, so do we want Jordan Love a third quarterback before a fourth running back or fifth wide receivers? Probably a big no-no among the best ball intelligentsia, but I'd like to think we are sharp and we can pick up some late round values and just really lock up three nice stacks here. Let me just queue up Romeo Dobbs before I forget his name. I think he's nice. Let me queue up another late guy. I don't want to auto these things, but I want them in here to be top of mind. I don't know if that I'll put Jordan Mason here, but not Jordan Mason, Mason Taylor in here, as well as potential guys we're going to look to add late here. Hulk Smash Potatoes says, never believe Tomlin coach speak and never trust Arthur Smith's usage. That is true. That is true. We are going to get way more Kenny Gainwell than we ever wanted. Greg says sage advice. Yeah. No one has ever gone broke fading Arthur Smith and his horrific usage. Best one call sites, probably dialing it in year by year overlay versus total contest. Yeah, I wonder how much they're doing. Like, I really wonder if they have people dedicated to like looking at that, or if it's like just one guy who's just like, I'll launch a puppy and just like goes live. Like I wonder how much thought goes into each contest. I'm sure there is. It's more than just the one guy yelling launch a puppy. I don't think that's fair to Underdog, but I do wonder how much like actual analysis goes into the decision making on like what to launch and when. All right, let's see. Probably the time for Romeo Dobbs here. See if we can't get another Green Bay pass catcher. If Romeo Dobbs goes, then likely take one of these running backs, aka Ollie Gordon. So we'll take Romeo Doubs. For the audio listeners, we've got Nix, Fields, and Love. Running back room of CMC, Jonathan Taylor, and Jordan Mason. Wide receiver room of Garrett Wilson, MHJ, Cortland Sutton, Deebo Samuel, and Romeo Doubs. And Tucker Kraft hanging on by himself in the tight end room. Don't mind the team. Feel like it's pretty good so far. Gotta say. Chris Burkle says, I got 537 less down less. I got $539 less down this year than last, and I'm not personally in a recession. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's time. Like, a lot of people have much different life circumstances this year than last year. I know I was not able to get quite in as many contests this year as last. I definitely have way more volume, especially on DK, because I was able to satty into some 555s. I'm going to be in 15 555s, which that alone is probably more than I played total last year. No, that's not true. I did my math wrong, but it's a lot. It's a lot. And it's definitely drastically increased my dollar outlay on DK because of those. But I think total amount of drafts, I was probably closer to 1,000 post drafts than this year. This year I'm going to be over 1,000 pre-draft and post, but not if you only look at post draft. Let's take Ray Davis. I think that's a nice cromulent running back to add to the team. My ideal world was going to be a 3-5-7-3 team, going with CMC, JT, and Mason Taylor. It's kind of my core running backs, only adding 2 more. I'd rather not do another 3-6-6-3 team, but we will see. We'll see what the next running back ends up being on this team. Yeah, about a 9% drop for Chris on Underdog. The Hulk Smash Potatoes. Underdog flooding season-long best ball with 1 week contest is annoying. That's why it's... yeah, I agree. I wish they were in separate lobbies or something. It makes it very hard to find either what you're looking for. Who Ames agreeing with Hulk Smash Potatoes there on his point about the flooding the board. I don't really buy into the early season depth charts, but Commander's current depth chart was the funniest out. Yeah. If Jeremy McNichols has 2 rushing touchdowns, like, there are going to be riots outside of the legendary Upside and ETR headquarters for the ranks. And it will not be their fault at all, but the best ball slappies will need to go after somebody, and I fear they will be the ones who take the brunt of it. Yeah, I'm with you on it being, and I have like 12% JCM or something like that, but it would be pretty funny. Best ball on call. What the sites really want is people playing pick'em and other bets. Yep. FK Coors. That's how I feel. About the depth. Yeah, it is funny. I just wasn't commentating. Sorry, Chris. I apologize if I got confused. I don't know what you were referring to there. I got behind in chat by like 10 minutes. Jesus. Yeah, my chat stopped scrolling. Oh my God, I am hopelessly behind. I'm going to try to auto a Scotty Fishbowl to get in. Don't really care how it finishes. I'll say it. All the Superflex tourneys filled. Maybe they need to make a BBM Superflex. Oh my God. BBM Superflex would be there would be people in just utter euphoria in the Superflex streets. Let's get Will Shipley up there. All right. What other streamer would you like to see win BBM? I mean, I think Davis winning BBM would objectively be a fantastic outcome for everyone. I think it would just be a content gold mine. And if it's not Davis, I think it would be even possibly more hilarious if Liam won again, because everyone would just be completely enraged if that happened. But obviously, I would then say, a smaller streamer winning would be awesome. If Who Hames won BBM, I would feel like I had won BBM. I would be absolutely ecstatic. Like, it would be really cool for one of the the independent channels to get there. Hartman, all those contests that close in like 2 to 3 days. I feel like we didn't have as much snap fill like that. Yeah, Hartman, the flock contests last year were snap filling, and I don't think they were this year. Hulk Smash. Gosh, I got so far behind in chat. Holy moly. The Commanders website has the RB1 slot blank. They just deleted Brian Robinson and left the order. Well, that's no fun. That's no fun, which adds to the hilarity. Yeah, sometimes I think we give a little too much credence to what like a social media intern does versus the team. I just took Troy Franklin there. All right. Greg says, Chad, you got the morning drive time best ball content and a chokehold. The worker salute. Yay, I am glad to see it. Liam went on super early this morning. I was like, oh no, Liam is coming, but he ended his stream early. I think he was just multiing over on DK, but I thought he was going to take all the air out of the room. I could be totally wrong. I did more volume this year. Just my perspective. BB Meat Gazer, what's up, Chad? Best of luck to you this season. Hey, BB Meat Gazer, a legend of the Discord universe. Thanks so much for coming in and hanging out, and best of luck to you as well. Really appreciate you stopping by. Oh, see, I don't know what Who Hames' post was. I'm sorry. Who Hames beating. All right, I got to go on Twitter. I'm behind in chat. I'm trying to catch up. Meet the Underdog guy who was hoping newbies manager at the Expo. They have a team that releases and manages contests. All right, so there is a dedicated crew. 202 $1 drafts. Help me get to the same number, but spent less, says Goes Cards. Yeah, I try to filter those out when I look at exposures because they make it so wonky, but it did help get the the numbers up. ATX Bearcat, are you doing draft sprints any different from BBMs? Nope. Nope, ATX Bearcat. I am doing exactly the same about the week 15 and 16 matchups. Yes, but I am not. FK Cooler says, Chad doing his best Candyman tribute. Hey, if you're gonna do a tribute to someone, Candyman, not a bad choice. Not a bad choice whatsoever. Let's take another tight end here. Let's take Jonnu. I am pretty in on that. Jonnu and Fannin would be kind of fun. I don't know if we're going to get both, but we will see. I'll put Kate Otten into the queue. Yeah, Who Aims Liam is the answer. Liam again would be the best and worst. It would be really funny. Just mentioning it in a chat caused everyone to lose their mind. Yep. It is a powder keg. It's a powder keg. If Liam wins, I will have a bad year. My Buffalo exposure is low. Well, Liam has this amazing ability to speak things into existence. So you, Chris, I regret to inform you, you might be in trouble. Liam's 6 a.m. stream was a fever dream. Yeah, that was. For those who did not watch, he multied 10 tables on DraftKings at the same time on screen. It was utterly impossible to follow what was going on. I don't know how he knew what he was going on. And of course, him being Liam, he still drafted really good teams, and I'm sure one of them will like advance to the finals because that's how it goes. Liam has been doing a stream before he goes to school every day. For the future youth of America, guy was multi-tabling 10 teams at once, just to ADHD and limitless mode. Liam wins. Checkmate nerd. Yeah, I actually thought about going live with me in the middle of a chess game as a bit. Because I say this with no arrogance. I am probably, if Liam is the best chess player who streams BBMs, I'm probably the second best. Liam, I believe he's like 2,200, 2,300 on chess.com. I'm like 2,080 on chess.com. I am not as good as Liam. I am not saying I am, but I could give him a competitive game, and I do one day want to play him. And that is part of the reason I want to have a big hit. I want to get on his radar, and then we can have a match that 9 people will be interested in watching. But I would love to play chess Liam as a former competitive chess player myself. I just took Jatavion Sanders, even though what am I doing? What team is this? Okay, I had to take another tight end because I had 2 week 5 buys. Dear God, people, I am in strugglesville. I'm dreaming of chess matches with Liam, and I'm like ignoring my own team. So we need one more. Wide receiver for the audio listeners who are perplexed. We've got Bo Nix, Justin Fields, and Jordan Love, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, Jordan Mason, Ray Davis, Will Shipley, Garrett Wilson, MHJ, Lynn Sutton, Debo Samuel, Roman Wilson, Troy the Boy Franklin, and then Tucker Kraft, Jonnu Smith. Add one more wide receiver to the room, and then we will be done with this draft. Who says, my favorite thing to happen to stream this year is basically when Davis and Liam were talking, and Davis said, no one runs more pure than Liam, basically calling him lucky. Well, Liam runs pure. The other issue is Liam is one of the best ball players to ever do this. So you put that as a combination, and you are going to have a absolute stone cold winner there. All right, we'll take Diami Brown. I don't think I want to take like Reynolds or anything weird. I'm with apologies to Who Hames. I don't think Savion Williams is the way I want to go. I'll just take kind of a boring pick. That'll do it. We'll add Diami Brown to the team. I'm going to hop in one more sprint. I'll probably call it after that because I feel like I'm going to lose my voice if I keep going. Waiting for one. Who Hames? This could be you. Waiting for one in this sprint. Green Bay Super Soaker with the King Seal. Yeah. Savion would have been kind of a fun way to wrap that up. Not Wick. I can't do Wicks. All right, somebody hopped in. Hopefully it was Who Hames. ASMR coffee spin and a little sip here. All right, Who Hames? You're not in here, but Brohanosaurus Flex is, which is unfortunate. This guy is a super high volume player on DraftKings. I've seen him in here before, and Who Hames is in here. He's a 6-hole. Who Hames is a 6-hole. You were hiding in the middle with the camouflage. You're not actually camouflaged. I just missed you. All right, awesome. Who Hames in at 6? I'm at the 1. Maybe we do try a hyper fragile from the 1 hole. So let's see what happens. I gave Hartman like 5 seconds. Sorry, Hartman. I wish this was waiting for 2, then we could have had a true friends and family one. So yeah, we'll see. I'll run this, and then if I'm still feeling good, we'll do a BBM or 2, or and I'm gonna gift everybody the room because I'm taking CMC at the 101. So I told you guys I moved him to the 101 for my last 4 days of drafts, and I will stick with that. Hartman, I wanted to run marathons anyway. No, I know. Yeah, sorry, Hartman. I would have happily run in there. That's Hulk Smash Potatoes. Diami following on ADP makes me realize I was the one keeping his ADP up. No. We were the ones keeping his ADP up, Hulk Smash Potatoes. Because if I point you to Exhibit A, and then if I limit this to BBM, we got almost 20% Diami Brown. So you and me, buddy, Hulk Smash Potatoes, we are going all in on Dynamic Brown this season. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Yeah, nobody wants to run marathons. It is brutal. Who Hames gets Jahmyr Gibbs at the 6, which seems pretty nice. I'll pull up the board. We can see what happens. Hopefully we can actually try this hyperfragile thing. If not, well, we can't say we didn't try to do something a little bit different here. All right, so Brohanosaurus over there. I don't know, like I'm not familiar with any of his best ball stuff, but I know he's like super high volume DFS guy. We didn't see Diami Brown, but I believe you. It's on the last draft. Oh, I was trying to pull up my exposures, but I promise I have way more Diami Brown than any healthy human who is not a member of the Brown family should own. I'm a little bit overweight on that. All right, let's see. Jonathan Taylor goes at 17. Again, I love Jonathan Taylor, especially when he falls to the back end of the second round. It feels pretty nice there. Oh no, all the running backs are going. See, I'm too far now. I needed to be in the 3 or 4 hole. Now all the running backs are gone. But yeah, Who Hames hogging everything. He's got Gibbs and Bucky, so he might be able to pull it off. Unbelievable circumstances here. Brohanosaurus he might even be autoing this guy. He's got so much money, he just simply doesn't care. All right, so we do get, that seems good. You know what? All right, let's do that. No, what am I doing? I said I was going hyper fragile, and Omarion Hampton's here, and so is Josh Jacobs. All right, folks, we're doing it. CMC, Josh Jacobs, Omarion Hampton. We are going so high T that we're going to get thrown out of the Olympics because they just do not believe this could be natural. But we are. We just like drafting running backs. CMC, Jacobs, Hampton. Let's go. All right. Oh no, screen's frozen. That's not good. Are we back? Are we back or are we still frozen? Not great. I think you're on the wrong screen. Am I tripping? Screen's frozen. We are so back. Are we back? Okay. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Everything looked normal on my screen, which was weird. Because typically it will look bad on my end. So I don't know what's going on. Also, now the comments are pushing my whole window up. It used to just like cover me. So I don't know what's going on. Yeah. I'm going to service the audio listeners by forcing you all to become audio listeners. You're back. Thanks, Joel. Okay. Well, I appreciate you all alerting me to that. I legitimately don't know what happened. It just it froze. I had to refresh StreamYard, but it sounds like everything's good again. You all now can see that I was not lying about taking 3 running backs in a row with CMC, Jacobs, Hampton. Whoham's here. He's got Gibbs, Bucky, and Mike Evans. So, yeah, Diami broke the screen. When you have a used Kia Sorento in Diami Brown shares, Gamblers Anonymous actually comes to your house and unplugs your internet so that you can stop. It's they make house calls. So yeah, we hit that threshold. But let's see. We got a lot of people trying to chase overlay here. Probably some auto drafters. We're going to have to navigate these waters very expertly. We're going to have to navigate these waters very carefully. But we'll see what we can do. Normally, I would take 2 wide receivers here. We'll see what comes to us. Part of me wants to just take that 4th running back and then just like tie ourselves to the mast like Odysseus and just not be lured in. We'll see. I don't build a lot like that, but we're going to try something. I saw Ray. I got excited that was going to be Ray Zandy, but that's not, unfortunately. He's Ray and then a bunch of 3s, I think. Ray something and then 3s. So unfortunately, that is not our king Ray Zandy in our midst, but he does sometimes stop by the channel. So if you're out there, Ray, good morning. But unfortunately, we're not drafting together. Trev falling from the fake depth chart news. Oh, did they have Ramondre ahead of him? Tiger Uppercut. Also, Tiger Uppercut, thanks so much for coming in and hanging out. Hartman, it's really scary seeing the dollar amount next to some names. Yes, like Miles Sanders. Not great. Not great. All right. Let's see. Metcalf and Sutton seems fine. Ridley's fun. All right. We're gonna try something. We're gonna try something real nuts. We're gonna go Ridley, Pollard, anchor, Calvin Ridley, anchor, wide receiver, 4 running backs, hyper fragile. We are not taking another running back this draft. We're going to see if we can't land the plane. We will pray to whatever deity, whatever your current coverage option is, pray to them that we get 2 receivers we like at pick 72 and 73. This could be god-awful, but we're trying something new. When you do 1,000 drafts, you can try some weird stuff every now and then, and we're going to try that today. We're going to see how this goes. And yeah, again, I don't know what else to say, but we're going to be trying some. Our screen froze. I could have left it frozen and then, you all not seen this, but we're going to try. Who Ames over here, he's also going pretty high T. He's got Gibbs, Monty, Mike Evans, Ken Walker, and Devonta Smith over there. So like the team that Who Hames is assembling, he of course takes Devonta Smith from the Jalen Hurts drafter. There is no love lost between drafters, folks. But these are the streets we live in, and you've got to watch out for yourself because nobody is watching out for you. Hartman says, like, what do you mean I have 2,000 legal tender on Jaden Blue specifically? Yeah. Greg says, for real, rip pre-draft read bags. We don't go to that page anymore. Yeah. How about my Damian Martinez and Rocket Sanders bags? Damian Martinez got cut from the practice squad. Not good. It is so brutal. Some of the runouts we get. Big takeaway for next year in pre-draft. Unless somebody truly has like a top 3 round draft grade, do not get over 30% on them. Like, it's just too easy to just eat a UDFA. And that's what happened to me. Fell in love with some of those guys that I'm like, trying to chase this year's Tyrone Tracy kind of guy, and just ended up turning a dead spot in 30% of my lineups. Chris Burkle, Isaiah Bond bags. I got big Isaiah Bond bags too. Those might be rescued. Who Ames reminds us that Martinez did have a round 3 draft grade. Okay, Who Ames. Maybe I have to update that to round 2, or just say nobody above 20%. Like, I might just have to do that. But the problem is I really thought Martinez was going to be good. But again, Martinez, apparently not good. Restrepo, not good. Arroyo might not be good. How good is Cam Ward? Cam Ward might be an absolute monster. He might be an absolute monster. So I am, because it turns out all his ancillary pieces might be like truly not that great. Greg says, next year's offseason discussion dominated by the generational running back class that never was. Yeah. Burhanosaurus took Chris Olave, who I would have absolutely loved to have there. A little bit unfortunate. I mean, this is like Steph Diggs. I need Steph Diggs and Juwan Johnson like I need air here. Okay, he takes Swift. Addison is tempting, but I don't think I can take too many zeros in this early. And I really hope Steph Diggs is not actually like hurt. So we'll take Jennings. We'll take Diggs. So we'll see. For the audio listeners, we've got a 0-4-3-0. We got CMC, Josh Jacobs, Omarion Hampton, and Tony Pollard, and a wide receiver room of Calvin Ridley, Juwan Jennings, and Steph Diggs. I do like getting Jennings there because he's, I think he's still a little bit, has not fully recovered from coming back from injury as far as the ADP. I mean, I hope he's fully recovered, but his ADP I don't think has fully adjusted to where he was going previously, but we will see. I guess he was he all the way in the 90s? I can't remember where Jennings was going, but he was off of a lot of people's draft boards. All right. Hartman says, Marshawn Lloyd can't keep stealing my money like this. He's taken a lot from me too. Big board's tricky because you can still get torched by landing spots too. Yeah, again, that's why I'm like, I got over my skis in exposure, and it's just, at the end of the day, my big board, like, dollar exposures is much smaller than my post draft, so maybe it's fine and it's more fun. So I don't know if I'm actually going to do this. I might just draft like a maniac next year and lose again. ATX Bearcat, didn't Jewish McCaffrey max his sprint like 2 months ago? Yes, I believe he did. He is famously a big fan of the sprint format. Greg says, Judy not making it to the 70s turn has nuked my late entry mega running back teams. Yeah. Judy would have been really Judy or Pacheco I was really hoping I would get one of them there, and I didn't get either. That was, you're right, Greg. That was what I was hoping for. Next year's offseason discussion dominated by return of the workhorse running back because this rookie class was generational. Scatabo, the workhorse. Yeah, that's what we want to see. Martinez in the 7th on basically any other team works out. IMO. He got a dreadful run out. ATX Bearcat, you can make up your Lloyd money with E. Wilson. Yeah, let's just chase that. Let's chase that. Hulk smashed potatoes. I so lucked on not only Harvey's landing spot, but his capital too. Yeah, I have a lot of Harvey. I definitely have a lot of Harvey, but I would probably trade some of that for not being totally dead with a few other ones. All right, this is how you end up with 11% Cooper Kupp as you get here and you desperately need a running back. I do like Mark Andrews, but I want to catch up at receiver a little more. So let's take Kupp and Shaheed on this team. We're kind of hurting. Godwin makes sense. Because if when he comes back, we could be dealing with a wide receiver 1. So I am definitely, you know what? Maybe we do take Godwin here. I do like Shaheed. Shaheed, I think, has pretty big upside week to week. But let's put Godwin on the team and hope that we can survive early enough to get a somebody we were drafting way earlier in the contest, way higher ADP earlier in the contest. Armin says heavier exposures in pre-drafts seems right because you could win so big. Yeah, I mean, for every Tootin and Harvey, there's a Martinez and the other Rocket Sanders types, which is just really unfortunate. Because I remember at the very end, the last week, I switched from taking a ton of Harvey to taking a ton of Martinez because they were going really close. And I was like, Martinez is a lot younger. Harvey's 24. And then it turned out Sean Payton doesn't want a bunch of kids running around, and he wants like adults who have tax professionals and enjoy trips to Home Depot on his team. So I don't know. I got that wrong at the end, but I think I still had like 18 or 19% Harvey. Devin Neal, Hulk smashed potatoes, was a big loser as well, CLV wise. Yep. Devin Neal was a guy we were taking pretty high. Ollie Gordon, famously, was a baller, if I remember right, from where he went, and then he kind of came full circle there. Apartment, someone convinced me to get more Martinez near the end. I can't remember who though. I do not begrudge anyone on who does the work on these things and just puts a stand out there and gets it wrong. It is tough. It is so tough. I was all in on Damian Martinez though. I thought he was like just a classic, AFC North bruiser back. I'm like, I just could so see him, yeah. Almost every team gonna have 1 to 3 dead spots. Yep. Hopefully, because I have lots of teams with 1 to 3 dead spots. But that's why it's 20 rounds, and it is a ton of fun. Also, hour 53 minutes. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please like and subscribe. Hartman, we know you're just having fun there, and I think who knows the same. God knows it is tough to go out there and put your opinion and your stamp there. I fully expect if Scatabo sucks to have people needling me about that, because I am pretty over invested in one Cam Scatabo. My dream would be Drake May and Brock Purdy double tap. Is that going to happen? Almost assuredly, it is not going to happen. But we're going to be optimists about the situation and hope we get at least one of them. Drake May goes. It's a little unfortunate. Where is Cam Ward? I'm not just going to panic and take Cam Ward, but I am tempted to panic and take Cam Ward, because if he goes, I'm going to be just utterly devastated because this team kind of needs him. Brock Purdy go. God, this Brontosaurus guy is a nightmare. He probably doesn't even have any. No, I told this guy is a nightmare. Brontosaurus flex. I'm telling you what. I've dealt with this guy before. All right. I'm figuring out what I want to do. I actually think I'm just going to take Cam Ward here. I know this is panicky, but I need Cam Ward more than I need almost anything else in this situation. Those other quarterbacks, I'm actually like kind of agnostic as to which ones I get. I'll take Luther Burden. We'll go for another upside swing. You can say, yes, that is stupid taking him that far ahead of ADP. But again, I can double tap 2 quarterbacks here that I don't think are going to do too much differently than if I took another random unstacked like Trevor Lawrence or something. So we'll see. I think you could definitely argue that is a little panicky, but I think when my anchor receiver is Ridley and I have Pollard as one of my running backs, if this team doesn't get Cam Ward, it all kind of, the house of cards falls apart. Herbert might have actually, in the cold light of day, Herbert might have made sense because I do have Hampton. And then I take like a QJ later. Could have potentially done that, but that thought did not occur to me while I was on the clock. Hartman says, if you had to pick a couple guys that are your guys this year, who would it be? Doesn't have to be one of your top exposures. I'm lucky that it is my top 2 exposures, which are JMO and Scatabo. I am so in on both of them. I think JMO's just had a really weird beginning to his year between injury and gambling suspension. That just makes me like him even more. Scatabo, of course, I it's not just because I went to ASU. I legitimately think he is, capable of doing everything the NFL asks him to do. Elite pass catcher, willing to grind for those tough yards, the kind of guy that is just going to find his way onto the field. I think Daboll likes him. So those 2. Garrett Wilson has been a big stand of mine. I think that people want a reason to fade Fields, and they found some bad preseason tape as if they didn't know what Fields was. And are pointing to that when we don't really know what they're necessarily working on. Like preseason, I just don't care about preseason performance at all. So I would say those are probably the biggest my guys for me. Guys who I think are not drafted where they should be. Like I think Jameson Williams is cheaper than he ought to be, and I think next year. I think next year we're going to be drafting him in the 2nd round, if not earlier. But we will see. We will see. I think he should be around where Devontae Adams is going, which I think is a little bit of a flaming hot take, but that is my my actual opinion on the matter. All right, let's see. I'm trying to think. Do I have another? And missing out on Purdy was a bummer. Purdy would have really been cromulent on this team. We will just, if we miss Darnold, that's fine. We do need another quarterback though. We do need another quarterback. I need a tight end. Let's take Romeo Doubs and a guy we can take naked in Bryce Young. So we will do that. We'll take another quarterback. We still desperately need some tight ends. But so far for the audio listeners, we've got a 2-4-7-0 with Cam Ward and Bryce Young. Running back room of CMC, Josh Jacobs, Omarion Hampton, and Tony Pollard. Wide receiver room of Calvin Ridley, Juwan Jennings, Steph Diggs, Cooper Kupp, Chris Godwin, Luther Burden, and Romeo Doubs. And nobody in the tight end room yet. This could potentially be a 4 tight end team, being that we only took 4 running backs. I think for that to happen, how many positions do I have left? Picks do I have left? I have 5 picks left. So if I actually took 4 tight ends, I would only I would get no more receivers. So we're not going to do that. We're only going to take 3 tight ends, but we will try to make it work. We will try to make it work. Let's add Sam Darnold to the queue. Yes, one of us. Yeah, famously, Jameson Williams is indeed one of us. We might end up seeing him in the best ball streets one day, hopefully, and hopefully it goes better than old Gilbert Arenas' soiree into the world of Underdog. A regrettable period in all of our lives there. But again, appreciate you all so much for hanging out. It's been so much fun. Running these. It is crazy that this is all winding down. I don't know if I'm ending today's bigger contest with the best lineup you'll ever see, but it's different. I think the concept can work. I think if we got a little luckier with say Purdy coming, because then we would have had Purdy, CMC, and Jennings. That would have been really cool. Had we gotten like a Judy or an Olave maybe instead of like Diggs, I think I would have liked that a little bit more perhaps if we got lucky with a Drake May. So again, we ran a little cold on the puck luck of what was coming to us. Maybe this would be better done from the 3 or 4 hole. I think you could pretty much build the same team from one of those slots and maybe get a little bit more, those few spots of ADP I think made a big difference versus being at the turn itself. But you know what? You guys are not here to listen to excuses, but that is how it's been going down over here. We got Sam Darnold in the queue. We probably should take a tight end. Who do we want to take? We could take Hunter Henry. We do have Steph Diggs on this team. Isaiah likely goes. So let's do Darnold and Henry. Although, with Cam Ward, let's take Io Manor. And then our last 3 picks will be tight end. We're just going to try to go literally 0 tight end on this team. So we start the team with 4 running backs. We end the team with 3 tight ends. If nothing else, this team will be very aesthetically pleasing and form some kind of beautiful pattern in the draft board at the end. And who knows? Maybe this is an effective way to build. Somebody noted earlier that the sprint winner only got 33 points from their tight end. Maybe that could be us. And let's see. Did Torrey Horton go? Did we miss Torrey Horton? I think he's already gone. So we didn't get a chance to do that. But we do get Io Manor with our Cam Ward stack. Of course, right now Bryce Young is unstacked. We're going to prioritize Jatavion Sanders. I think Jonnu. All right, let me put these in order in case any of you are wondering my true tight end rankings. After this, it gets a little wonky for me if you really have to get down to it. I mean, I might even have Waller or Gesicki higher than these guys, but that's just sort of how I went there. Who Aim says, I took Torian, was taking Darnold if you decided not to. Gotcha. Yeah, and if Darnold had gone, I was going to double tap Aaron Rodgers and Jonnu Smith, just so you know what my backup plan was there. But I was read chat and missed out on the on the Torrey Horton going. Good stuff, Tad. Made it 7 miles into my bike ride. Hey, best ball on call. That's awesome. That is good on you for biking there in the morning. One disadvantage of living in the city like I do is I do not like to ride my bike around where I live because it is not a place where people are looking for bikes, and they not the safest place to ride your bike. I'll put it that way. But I do enjoy the occasional bike ride. All right. We've got Jonnu, Fannin, and Otten. All right. Let's do Jonnu and Fannin. That seems fun. We'll do the Fannin bet. What could go wrong? I mean, honestly, we pushed tight end to the end, so we might as well try to swing for a home run, which could be Harold Fannin there. Brontosaurus Nemesis, of course, takes Aaron Rodgers. I don't know why I said of course. He can do whatever he pleases, but he is indeed our drafting nemesis here. All right, I'll pull the board down. Let's check in on what Huhames has done. So Huhames, his team. So he's got he went Gibbs, Bucky, and then Evans. So started out with a Tampa Bay bet. Then Ken Walker, Devonta Smith, Rome Odunze, Jordan Addison, Baker Mayfield. So completes the Tampa stack. Mark Andrews, Caleb Williams. So he gets Caleb and Odunze there. Keenan Allen, Kyle Pitts, Hollywood Brown, Torrey Horton, Rico Dowdle, Jalen Coker, and Taj Brooks. So, yeah, Huhames, I like the team you've put together here. I'll be interested to see what position you close your team with. But yeah, good stuff, Huhames. I like the crew. For what it's worth, a 20-inch BMX. Very nice. Very nice. And yeah, I mean, it's good. It's a good morning ride here. Wouldn't you say your area is a place people are looking for bikes? I mean, like the cars are not bike friendly. Like people blow through stop signs is what I'm saying. Like oh no, I'm not. No, Hartman, I'm not talking about crime. I'm talking about like the drivers are not conscientious about that. Yeah, best ball call. That was it. You'd be shocked at my last pick. I am looking forward to it. Is it Turpin? It's Turpin time. Our Buck St. Thomas, famously a big Turpin fan, slurping the Turpin. I don't mind the Turpin pick, Huhames, and certainly viable in primetime Palooza and showdown contests. Juwan Johnson is still here. Pat Fryermuth, Michael Mayer. We got a few options. I do love the Michael Mayer bet, but I think Juwan Johnson is, Juwan Johnson is basically free here, and I don't really understand why he's goes undrafted. So Juwan Johnson is my last pick there. So don't mind the team. Could have been better. I think with a few different picks, you might look at this team and say, like, this is a really cool team. Instead, it's like, it could work. I'll review it in a second here. Meg, hey, happy end of best ball season, start of NFL season. Meg, thanks so much for coming in. Also, if you don't subscribe to the Fan Speak Network on YouTube, you absolutely should. They have fantastic stuff. And Meg, really appreciate you coming by. Meg's got fans everywhere. Huhames, best ball on call. Saying hello all, says Meg. So this team was a 3-4-8-3. Cam Ward, Bryce Young, Sam Darnold, and then CMC, Josh Jacobs, Omarion Hampton, Tony Pollard. So we went hyper fragile. And then Calvin Ridley, Juwan Jennings, Steph Diggs, Cooper Kupp, Chris Godwin, Luther Burden, Romeo Dobbs, and Alec Io Manor. Tight end room of Jonnu Smith, Harold Fannin, and Juwan Johnson. Not the worst team I've ever assembled. I mean, I like having a few teams that are hyper fragile. Again, wish the stacks had worked out a little more in my favor, but we can only control what we can control. With that, let me just see what the dog bowl's at. Waiting for 2. I just don't know if I really want to do a dog bowl right now. And I think that's the issue. I'm just going to rip a couple, maybe we'll see what time it is. It's 10:39. I will rip one, we'll do one battle royale. We'll just do a main battle royale. We'll see what time it is when this one ends. Waiting for 3. If you want to hop in this one, go ahead. These are really fun. If you don't do many BRs, they are same scoring format as Best Ball Mania and the other Underdog contests. 1 quarterback, 2 wide receivers, 1 running back, 1 tight end, and 1 flex. The typical idea for me is to have two running backs. I like to fill my flex with a running back. It is not a hard and fast rule. I think you got to, keep yourself flexible. Don't get take lock. Don't get stack lock. See what the room is giving you and be willing to scroll down. Don't just take the top 36 picks by ADP or I think you are really going to find an uphill roll to win this. So I see Hartman is in here at the 3, Huhames at the 1, I am at the 5. Let's go. Let's see what we can see here. My take is CMC should be the number 1. He's not being drafted like that. Jamar Chase is. I just have trouble with that. I have trouble seeing Jamar Chase really separating on the slate versus what the elite running backs can do. But obviously the market disagrees with me, because when this opened, CMC was the 1, and Jamar Chase has been coming up. I don't know if this is love for Chase, residual injury fears for CMC, or worries that Seattle's defense is actually good. I don't worry about any of that stuff. I just see CMC at the top of my queue, and I take him. Huhames has noted that Brian Robinson was his 101, and I see him living his truth. Hartman says, Chad, the BR champion, trying to pull the fishes into the draft. It worked. Well, I appreciate it, Hartman. I don't consider any of you guys fishes in the absolute slightest, but I do appreciate it, and I appreciate you all drafting with me. It is more fun to do these with folks. My wide receiver 1 is Drake London, and I have a few running backs I like. So let me get Drake London onto the team. I am pretty in on London this week. Almost just took Jonathan Taylor. I think that's perfectly fine as well. I probably could have gotten Taylor and London, but I'm going to end up doing more of these than I thought, so I'm sure I will get that combination. Let's do Chase Brown. I think Chase Brown belongs in that first tier of running back this week. I think playing the Bengals, there is a very good chance that Chase Brown is the highest scoring player on the slate, let alone running back. I think he is a coin flip to outscore Jamar Chase. And I know the projections don't say that, and it's not being drafted that way, but the sim in my head is telling me that. Not Brian Robinson, you lie. Yes, Bijan. I'm sorry, Huhames. You are, I misspoke there. Yes, Bijan Robinson is Huhames 101. Jaden Daniels is an interesting guy this week, because he's really the only elite quarterback on this slate. The other ones are all in the primetime games. So he tends to go significantly ahead of the other options there. So likes the Jaden Daniels pick. We'll see if Huhames ends up building out any kind of stack with that or not. All right, the running backs all just went. All right, I'll build a vanilla team here. I'm going to take Joe Burrow and really just pray this guy doesn't take T. Higgins, because if this guy takes T. Higgins, then this whole thing falls apart. So we're going to go Burrow, Chase Brown, and then Drake London and T. Higgins there. I don't do a ton of these double stacks. I don't think this is necessarily good, but every now and then I will try a quarterback, running back, receiver on the off chance that game just goes absolutely bananas. So, or at least that team does. So we'll do that. I don't love it here because Cincinnati has been notoriously kind of a slow starter, but I did see an opportunity. I kind of wanted to lean into that one and try something a little different. FK Core says, yeah, it's Taylor or London for me at the 1.5 so far. Yeah, I think I agree with that. Definitely did Hartman. Couldn't get my phone out of my backpack in time. I'll hop in one more after this, and then I will probably call it a stream. Not sure it was mentioned, but the Jets lost their right guard to a long-term injury. Oh, God. Hulk Smashed Potatoes, I had not heard that. There. And all right, I will just truly lean into this. Again, I normally like to end my team with 2 running backs, but I'll lean into this game. I'll do a game stack. This is something I'm not going to do a lot. And then I'm going to scroll for Tucker Kraft past Laporta. So this team ends up being Joe Burrow, Chase Brown, Drake London, T. Higgins, Jerry Jeudy, and Tucker Kraft. Don't mind the way this team came out, but again, this is something that I want to sprinkle in and not do a lot. I think this is different from DK, where team onslaughts can get there. I think it's a lot harder for a team onslaught to get there in BR. So let's hop in another one. let's hop in another one. And I realize, I'm sorry, Hartman and Who Ames, I did not look at your team. All right, I'm waiting for 2. If anyone wants to hop in, let me look at your teams real quick. How do I do this? Oh my God. Sunday main slate, BR. Oh, wait, can you look at drafts? Can I not pull the whole board up? All right. I don't know how I don't know how to pull the board up. I apologize, guys. I thought I would be able to look at your. Oh wait, I can still go here. I can still go here. All right. We're live. All right. Wow, Terry McLaurin went. I don't know if that's who Hames wanted. Hartman, he gets CMC, Nico Collins, Brock Bowers, Amon Ra, Alvin Kamara, and Geno Smith. Love that. The Geno Bowers stack there. CMC Kamara, pretty awesome. I actually think I prefer Debo to McLaurin because he'll be under-owned Who Hames. I don't know if that was your plan A, but I like that. Who Hames has Bijan and A-Chain, Daniels and Debo, Njoku as his tight end, and Malik Neighbors. Yep, like the team. You've got a game stack on that game, and you've got the one elite quarterback on the slate. Seems pretty good. We're still waiting for one here. If anyone wants to hop in. All right, let's see. Who Ames said it's his dream start. I just put Burrow in the elite category because he can put up 303. Yeah, this team's going to need him to do that because going to need that, or I am in a little bit of trouble. So many offensive lineman injuries so far. Yeah, it's been bad. It's been bad on like offenses we're excited about. All right, I see Hartman in here at the 4. Doesn't look like we got anyone else in. The door is definitely more wide open at QB than typically is, which is fun. Completely agree, FK Coolers. There are a lot of really fun stacks that are not going. Yeah, Hartman, you're right. You can't look at the BR drafts after, which is why people screenshot their draft boards in like dog bowls. I forgot. I had forgotten that. Who Hames? I absolutely wanted Terry. Terry makes the exact same team I had picked. I'm shocked that guy took Terry. That's a bad run out because he goes undrafted if the Daniels guy doesn't take him like most of the time. So I'm a little surprised because he's not even a bring back. Like nobody is taking Russell Wilson in this. I mean, maybe you could. It'd be a very interesting unowned scroll down quarterback option. If I max this, maybe I'll have one Russ Neighbors team, but man, even that just sounds so gross. All right, we're taking CMC again. I said I thought he's the 101. He is my 101. He wasn't even top 1. That guy just saw you building something beautiful and just had to like throw dirt at it. So sorry about that. Who Hames? Hartman, he gets Jonathan Taylor here. All right, so let me start to think. If we could go Neighbors Evans, that would be like pretty ideal. I would be shocked if we get that. Some other scroll down receivers. I mean, Tyreek Hill being the 25th pick is kind of crazy to me. He's the guy that can break slates. You know, T. Higgins is like a coin flip to outscore Jamar Chase, and he's there at pick 27. I don't fully understand some of these ADPs. Scrolling down further, Igbuka, super trendy pick in DFS, might be a nice pivot from Evans. Tet McMillan, if he's a wide receiver 1 in Carolina, this game could be an absolute shootout. You can stack this game fairly cheaply. If you want BTJ, you got to take him early, but then you can take McMillan later. You can take Travis Hunter if you're really brave. I'm not that brave, but people are. Judy, I think, is going to be highly owned, even though he's down here, because there are going to be Carolina teams, and he's going to be a very trendy bring back. He's going to be a very trendy bring back for people. So Drake London does go. Bucky is still here. Chase Brown is still here. Of course, if we take one of them, we can't take a scroll down running back. There's some really good scroll down running backs. James Conner, Kamara, Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is a very good option that's not going to be owned in every contest. Going below that, maybe Jaylen Warren. If you really want to get greasy, I don't think Jaylen Warren is like a really bad click. I'm just thinking what I want to do. All right, I'll take Mike Evans because I think he's pretty clearly one of the better options. And again, I have a hard time not clicking Chase Brown. I really think he's a pretty blatant misprice this week. Hartman, he started with Taylor Gibbs. Wow. That's going to be uncommon. What's Gibbs's ADP? Yeah, 4. You got him at 9. All right, don't drop the baby, Hartman. You've got something cooking going on here. Indy is a pass funnel defense, right? Yes. Yeah, that is true. That is true, Hartman. So we will see. We will see what happens. What happens here? What we want to do. We of course need one more receiver, one tight end, and our quarterback. So I have the idea for a back end of it if my primary idea does not come to fruition. I have a way that you typically can end a draft if you have to do it. All right, now that Hartman took Tyreek, is who I would have taken. I did not think Tyreek was going to come to me, but that's fine. The plan will be to go JMO, Kraft, and Love. I think you can do that, or JMO, Kraft, and Goff. You can pretty much end any team you want with that. You can get that 95% of the time. And I really like getting pieces of that game. I think that's a fun way to end your contest, and then you could vary your start. I want a few teams that are going to end like that. That's my little bit of BR. I don't want to say alpha because it could suck, and it could what you need at all. But to me, it's kind of an exciting running backs to start with. So I'm going to try to do that. Could I do the same thing with Amon-Ra if he comes to me? Yeah, absolutely. I could do Amon-Ra instead of Jameson Williams. But Jameson Williams is basically free. His ADP is so low, he's undrafted most of the time. And I think he could be a monster. Do you think stacking Tyreek with JT is good or bad? No, that's fine. I think that's more than okay. In fact, I think a lot of the times opposing running back running back versus wide receiver can be a net win. MHJ like that there. Let's see what Fave for Prez does. All right, so he takes Amon-Ra. So that was my initial thought was Amon-Ra would not be there. But again, I didn't want to get take locked into taking Jameson if Amon-Ra was there, because you can do this every time, but JMO will not be here most of the time. So we'll take Tucker Kraft, we'll take Jameson Williams, and then I will queue up Goff and Love. I think I prefer Love slightly, but I'm fine with either one. And that will wrap this team. If both of them go, again, you always got to have a backup plan. I think Justin Fields naked, you could do worse than naked Fields, or you could, potentially try to do a Purdy. Joe Burrow's still here, weirdly enough. He hasn't been taken. So always got to be thinking about backup options. The other trick to BR if you're new is looking what other people are doing, what their positions are, because you can only take one quarterback. So if both people plan your picks for what people can do, right? I'm trying to find an example on this board that makes sense, but people left themselves kind of open. This Rinsby guy has to take a quarterback here. So if you're worried about getting sniped by this guy and you have 2 picks left, you wouldn't take a quarterback because this guy can't take your quarterback. You would take, this guy could only take a quarterback. So you would take your quarterback first. Look at you can look at the positions that people can take. It's a little harder to see from the one hole, but when you're in the middle, this can matter. So just if you're at the 5 or the 2, paying attention to who the turn has taken makes a ton of sense, because there will be times when you're the only one that needs a quarterback left. So you can just save quarterback for the last pick because nobody can take him, because everyone, like me, nobody is taking a quarterback. I now know I will get Tucker Kraft because all 5 of these are taken. So that is where I am at there. again, really appreciate you all stopping by. This guy, they just put their guy in their queue and just walked off like they hit a grand slam home run. But people don't always push the plane. But again, all of you, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out. Had a really fun stream with you guys. Greg says even bigger issue in the small slates too. I don't know if you're talking about people not pushing the plane, but it's but yeah, this is super fun. We'll be running some more BRs, and I'm gonna make my last pick. Again, Hartman, thank you so much for drafting this one. Appreciate it. Huhames, thanks for getting in some drafts today. Likewise, Mr. Worth, all of you who hung out and spent time this morning, really appreciate it. Tomorrow, last stream before football starts. I cannot believe it. Yeah, boxing out straps, always good info. Yeah, you it is so important to pay attention to it. It is so important because you literally can, save yourself a lot of aggravation. There are times when you can just avoid getting sniped by simply being aware of the position limits. Hulk Smash Potatoes, have a good one. Hey, appreciate it, Hulk Smash Potatoes. Have a great day. Take care, everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow.